Vibes FM. Vibes FM. On number one.
Tossed and battered, bruised and knocked down, forever changed. But from the rubble, hope rises. The Optimist Show returns this Saturday, October 5, 2024, at 9 a.m. on Vibes 101.3 and 106.3 FM.
I was buried alive, but I'm still breathing.
The Optimist Show, where your voices can be heard and recognized. The Optimist Show is on Vibes 101.3 and 106.3 FM every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. The Optimist Show is about news, information, activism, and entertainment. On The Optimist Show, optimism is spread to every viewer and listener. Get connected to Milton and Amber, along with friends, for another exciting new season of The Optimist Show, keeping hope alive. We are also on social media platforms. On Facebook, follow The Optimist Show, Conception News, CAMS Training Institute. The Optimist Show is a production of CAMS Training Institute in association with Hope FC, ISPA, and other community organizations, institutions, and groups.
It's estimated 1 in every 10 people in Grenada have the sickle cell trait. Having the trait does not mean you are sick or unhealthy. Very healthy people have the trait. Unfortunately, many of these people are unaware that they carry the trait. You see, when two people with the trait have a child, there is a 1 in 4 chance that the child will be born with the sickle cell disease. That is why it is important to know if you have the trait. Sickle cell is associated with life-threatening conditions, and it can be very painful. You see, the body's red cells can pass freely through the arteries and veins, but the sickle cells can get stuck, and this is what causes pain. This disease, you cannot catch it from someone. It is inherited. You are born with the trait or the full-blown disease. It comes from your parents. So let's talk sickle cell and what it is about and what can be learned about it and how to live with it. Let's all make better decisions about our family's health by learning the facts and getting tested. A message from the Sickle Cell Association of Grenada. Please call 458-6399 or email us at grenadasc@gmail.com.
Equal rights and justice.
This is an urgent call to all citizens. The Grenada Human Rights Organization, GHRO Incorporative, is engaging all nationals. Getting to know your rights is your civic responsibility. So join the GHRO team. Let's promote and create greater awareness on abuses and violations within society. Stop the Abuse Initiative, protecting the rights of the marginalized and the vulnerable. Human rights and social justice belongs to all the people without discrimination and victimization. So together, let's promote and protect our rights. Stop the abuse against children, the elderly, all marginalized members of society, those living in poverty, all citizens. Join the movement. Email grenadahumanrights@gmail.com. Telephone numbers 473-419-5479 and 407-4597. Website www.grenadahumanrights.org.
Equal rights and justice.
All right, let me say welcome to all of you wherever you are this time. And this is Vibes 101.3 and indeed 106.3 on your FM dial. All right, we're so glad that you can join us this morning. Good morning. Yes, the volume was a bit down there, so I guess most people weren't hearing me. So let me say it again. Good morning to you wherever you are, and welcome. This is the Optimist Show, and I'm Milton Coy, and together with me here in studio is our one and only Amber Jules. Amber, good morning to you. It's nice, familiar faces, seeing that smile as usual, and of course, ready to continue the journey here on the Vibes with this Optimist Show. How are you doing?
Good morning, Milton, and it's good to be back. And of course, good morning to everybody listening on Vibes 101.3, those on our Facebook page, those out in the diaspora. It's indeed a wonderful day today, the 5th of the 10th month, 2024. It's a blessing to be alive and to
Yes,
be
it
here
is.
once more.
It is. It is a blessing to be alive. And talking about listening, those listening in the diaspora, we also on YouTube this morning. Of course, we coming to the Vibes platform, and so those of you who are listening, please share it with your friends, families, and neighbors. Yes, so that we can all be part of this experience. Um, what do you know is happening today on the show? I mean, I know you have been working hard. I know you have been doing good. What do you know in terms of probably not just everything because we don't want to give away everything. But what do you know is happening on the show today from your perspective?
Well, what I can assure you, as always, we are all about advocating. We are all about sharing information. We are all about getting you informed as to what is happening in Carriacou and Grenada and PT Martinique. And not only, we don't stop just there. We go as far as what is happening in the region, right? And sometimes we even take it a little notch further. We talk about what is happening sometimes even internationally. And of course, we are always thrilled when we bring our news, the news to you, and not only just the news, but very pertinent, the discussion behind the news to aid in understanding.
Okay.
So we have much for you. So
We want to say good morning to Marsha. Marsha was one who's been doing our news from at least from since January. Um, yes, we do not have her this morning for a show. We may be able to make contact with her during the course of the show. We are here until it's after 11 and to talk about what's happening. One of the taglines for this show, I don't want to just keep asking the questions as though I'm testing you, but one of the taglines, when you hear about the Optimist show, what do you hear follows the Optimist show?
well, the Optimist show, you remember I said we focus on bringing hope and keeping hope alive. And how do we do that is about empowering people, right? By sharing information, by advocating for those who are unable to advocate for themselves. And of course, for this season, because there are always seasons and we're in a new season,
Yes.
right? So for this season, the aftermath of burial, our focus on the Optimist show would be all about community involvement, rebuilding our community, and restoring livelihoods. So, Milton, I am pretty much privileged to be on this journey this season, and we want to invite everybody to get on board because community involvement does not involve one person, it involves all persons, all hands on deck, all sundry, all stakeholders, big, small, old, able, disabled, you name it. So all sundries.
And when you talk about community, obviously community it speaks about more than one people, a common, united force, actually. So the emphasis, I'm glad you mentioned that because although I asked you the question earlier on, the Optimist show is about keeping hope alive. And what better time, what better opportunity, what better place we are right now to keep hope alive? I mean, we are just coming out. We have not yet been out of the woods. We are just creeping out under the rubbles to find space, to find a place where we can breathe a little bit easier. And that's what we're doing. We want to keep hope alive. We are saying through this program that, hey, listen, there's hope at the end of the tunnel. You might be there struggling to come out and to find some place to breathe. But what we are saying through this program, there is light at the end of the tunnel. I can see a bright light forward. I may not be close to the light now, but I can see a bright light down the road. and I think a community approach. So while we under the rubbles coming out, you on that side, you are across there, we can reach out to each other and say, hi, how are you doing across there? And we can decide and agree to hold hands together to get out. So that's what this new season focuses on. Yes, community. You help me get there. I help you get there, and together we are going to get there. Yes, so I think that it's a very, very important period in our lives, where we're trying to see how we can survive, thrive, and of course, not just for ourselves, but as a community. You mentioned about community focus, but also not just the community focus. What I'm saying here, I'm just putting it in perspective so that our listeners and viewers can understand where we at and where we're going. We're not just going anywhere and nowhere, and anywhere will take us there. We are saying that we are going forward together, and not only about building but rebuilding the structures, the business places, the shops, the supermarkets, and the personal homes and so on. But we are also going to be focusing on rebuilding lives. As a result of this July 1st experience, lives have been broken. I mean, literally broken. And we want to also, through this program, rebuild lives, give people encouragement, give people a sense of, hey, listen, we are in this together. So we're building the communities, the community spirit, but also we are rebuilding the lives of those who live and make up the communities. So I look forward, Amber, to this situation where we are going to be working together with the communities, community groups, wherever you are. Let's come out and let's talk about how we together can make this experience very, very positive. What do you say, Amber? And probably we can go into our next segment in a little while. But let me hear your thoughts on the way forward, what we are doing, what we would like to continue to do. After that, we're going to have a song by Ajamo, Say a Prayer. We won't want to do it in our own strength. Yeah, we want to understand that, hey, listen, there is hope, but we have to hold on to the one who gives us hope. Your thoughts, Amber?
Well, my thoughts are in keeping definitely with yours, Milton. And I just want to reiterate the fact that our communities are very, very important. They are central points in any form of rebuilding efforts. And we are not talking about, as Milton indicated, structures. We are talking about person. The last time we had a long discussion about personhood and so forth, if you look back at in the previous season. So it's all about our human resources and the part that we play in our rebuilding process, our community groups, our community involvements. So I think what we have in store this season will be quite interesting because we want to zero in on community groups and their role and their focus in rebuilding a nation, and not just rebuilding. We were talking about just in the survival of our community. What role do they play? What support do they offer? Not only in the building of physical structure, but maintaining families and community activities. How do they rally in such time? We would like to probably have that feedback from what persons in the community did to ensure that, or what they continue to do, what they did, what they are continuing to, and what they plan to do in the future, and what support is out there for such community groups. What support? Because support is key. And we have to support each other, one community group supporting another. So if you're from Leicester, you're from Harveyville, you're from Mount Pleasant, and together we still form a wider community. So there are communities within communities, basically. So we want to make sure that we foster that community spirit, and that we set up pillars to ensure that they can survive. For example, whether it's natural disasters, whether it doesn't have to be natural disasters, but just any kind of elements that can shake your community structure.
I mean, we also want to remember our brothers and sisters up there in Pitimatnik.
Of course, even if we probably have to cross the seas, and we did just that during the barrel situation, and of course, there were many discussions about P.T. Martinique and Grenada, and being separated. I mean, we are a tri-island state, so crossing the seas is definitely a must. And also, we will also want to highlight the persons who are out there in the sea, in the ocean, every single day, going back and forth and creating livelihoods, utilizing that method. The fisher folks, those on the tuna boats that go out there for weeks up and come back to their families. So that community is also important. And it would be nice to probably zero in, Mr. Coy, on that aspect, to see how families are coping, even within that form of community, the fisher folks. How do they cope? So you can stay tuned for this season, because it's going to be a very important season for us as people in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. And also, not only Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, but the Caribbean region as a whole, because we are islands surrounded by water, and we depend on the sea. Not only the land, but we also depend on the sea for our livelihoods. So we're definitely going to look at that. We're going to look at the farming industry, the agriculture industry, and see to how the challenges that they have encountered or continue to encounter in the aftermath of burial, and what kind of support are they outside there to help to boost their output and to support their livelihoods.
We also want to say we also will be reaching out to our friends at the northern part of Grenada, because they too are still reeling under the because of the passage of Hurricane Beryl. So whoever you are being affected, we are here with you, and we are here to keep hope alive. All right, we're going to be having our conversation, our first conversation in a little while. So let's play this song and come back straight at you. Say a prayer for all of us, each one of us. Yes, let's do it.
God, I am a prayer for my country. Righteousness exalts the nation, but sin is a reproach to any man. Pray for my country. I want to say a prayer to the Lord for my nation. I want to say a prayer for all them politicians. I want to beg the master to brighten their vision. Give them the inspiration to look beyond the horizon. Too long we living in bitterness and hate. Now the time is right for us to renew our faith. I'm sick and tired of all the confusion. The bickering been going on much too long. So as we move to the new century, Father, hear my plea. Hey, Father, I pray for the PM to find solutions for we problems. Oh, Father, I pray for every minister to see eye to eye with each other. Oh, Father, I pray for progress. I pray for stability. I pray for happiness and a whole lot of love in my country. Father, I pray for the police. Please inspire them to keep the peace. Oh, Father, I pray for the judge and the jury and those who begging for their mercy. Oh, Father, I pray and I pray, I pray and I pray. I pray for the good and the bad man. I pray and I pray, I pray and I pray. I pray for the whole of the nation. a prayer for me country. Father, pray for me country. Pray, oh, I say a prayer. Living conditions sometimes is so unbearable. It's very hard for the youths to stay out of trouble. Some of them went to school and they graduate with their degree, but they still cannot find nothing to do in this country. That's bad. I'm sure you know that this whole saying is true. The devil always has plenty work for those who idle. So they turn to drug, alcohol, and recklessness, and creating terror for those who make progress. So before another one die, Father, hear my cry. Hey! Father, I pray for the children. Please don't let the devil control them. Oh, Father. Oh, Father. I pray for the misguided youth man walking around with dangerous weapon. Oh, Father. Oh, Father. I pray for common sense. I pray for tranquility. I pray for intelligence and a whole lot of peace in my country. Father, I pray for the woman who give herself to prostitution. Oh, Father. Oh, Father. I pray for the lovely young lady who raising her child without daddy. Oh, Father. Oh, Father. I pray and I pray. I pray and I pray. I pray for the corner of the job man. I pray and I pray. I pray and I pray. I pray for the whole of the nation. Oh, Father, I pray for my country. Make us to dwell in love and peace with each other, oh Father. Pray, pray for my country. I want to pray for the preacher man and the churches. I want to say a prayer for the doctors and the nurses. I want to beg the master to give them inspiration as they fight to prolong the lives of our loved ones. I want to say a prayer for the school teachers, but they are the ones who shape the children's future. A special prayer goes out for the musicians and me Rasta brethren song here in Babylon. I pray for the poor and needy, Father, have some mercy. Hey, Father, I pray for the farmers who go into torment and horrors. Oh, Father, oh, Father, I pray for every fisherman who risking their life in the ocean. Oh, Father, oh, Father, I pray for the elders and the little babies. I pray for the prisoners and each and every one in my country. I know it's plenty to mention, but I must pray for them Calypsonian. Oh, Father, oh, Father, I pray for NCCDC, the GPCA and family. Oh, Father, oh, Father, I pray and I pray, I pray and I pray, I pray for a change in attitude. I pray and I pray, I pray and I pray for us to live up as we should. May the light of the good Lord shine upon my nation. Make those in authority to respect themselves so they can be respected. Oh Father, I pray for a speedy end to all the innocent bloodshed in my nation. Father, I pray for the innocent children. I pray that you may protect them with your love, now and forever.
All right, that's the Ajamo there, and that's what we need to do. Pray, say a prayer for each one of us, each sector, each category. Doesn't matter who we are, the young, the old, the middle age. Let's say a word of prayer for all and sundry. All right, this is the Optimist Show, and we're keeping hope alive in this new season, as well as trying to rebuild the lives of many, many, many people. I'm seeing already we have there are people who have joined us, and they are saying hello and hi to Amber and Milton. And yes, we just had a comment there from a very good friend there in Canada, Ali. Ali, good morning to you, and thanks that you can all be part of it. As we go forward together, we all going to be building one big family. Yes, a family, a community of families where we all look out for each other. But Amber, I think we do have some we do have some people on the line. I want you to greet them and say hi, hello, because we are trying to make the connection. As you rightly said early on, that we are going to be connecting with not just locals here in Carriacou, Grenada, Petit Martinique, but also in the region. And as a matter of fact, we do have some friends already online connected, and we're going to hear from them at this time. And let me say good morning to welcome. This is the Optimist Show to you wherever you are. Tell us, Amber, your friends, our friends.
So, yeah,
Yes.
right.
Yes. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. And just to tell our listeners, you are calling all the way from Jamaica. Now, Jamaica is a place where all of us, most of us, several of us here on island, know about, and we want to hear from you. So, welcome to the Optimist Show for today.
Morning, one and all.
All right, okay. So, Amber, I say over to you.
Well, a pleasant good morning to Jamaica and the guests that we have. We did promise that we will be talking about communities this season, and this interview that we are going to conduct this morning is very important because it keeps in line with our focus this season. So what I'll do, I'll invite. I don't want to spearhead the introduction. I'm going to allow the persons to actually introduce themselves. So this morning we have with us, and I'm just going to tell you from what organization we are talking about: KCDI, which is Kevoy Community Development Institute of Jamaica. So let me allow our guests to introduce themselves. Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning.
Right. You can go ahead and introduce yourself to the listening public.
Sorry, can't hear you.
Okay, I said, can you hear me? You can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes, morning. I am Donovan McLaren, with executive chairman for Kevoy Community Development Institute Jamaica Limited here in Jamaica. And we provide, along with our assessor, the Caribbean's first regional assessor, Mr. Forrest Fitzgerald, was also on the line. And our company, KCDI Jamaica Limited, provides farm management and community development training both nationally and regionally. And today we're welcoming and thank the host of this show for giving us the opportunity to raise the awareness of the Caribbean's newest vocational training standard that speaks to those who are in the sector for over, I would say, 100 years and not being recognized. Those persons being the grave diggers. I will say much more on this later in the program, but suffice it to say, thank you, Amber and Mr. Coy, for the invitation and the opportunity to raise the awareness in your space. Mr. Fitzgerald can introduce himself further as it relates to his areas as an assessor in the region. Mr. Fitzgerald.
Thank you very much, Mr. McLaren. Good morning, Amber and our host. All right, my name is Horace Fitzgerald, and I have the honor, if I for want of a better word, to be the first assessor for the region in this particular new discipline, grave diggers. It was born out of experience I had managing a private cemetery here in Jamaica, and the need I saw for development, holistic development right across the sector. And I with Mr. McLaren, we sat down and we knocked it, and then we came to where we are today.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for introducing yourselves. We notice by introduction we have, I'll just repeat the name, Mr. Donovan McLaren from KCDI, which is the executive chair, and our assessor, Mr. Fitzgerald. We are indeed happy to have you on, and we are delighted with the information that you are about to share with Grenada. Can you tell us a little bit more about KCDI?
Thank you. KCDI, as stated earlier, we develop farm management and training and community development training programs. Not only developing training programs, we also provide advocacy for the development of programs at the regional level through the CPDC, to which we are an affiliated member. This is a regional organization of civil society organization in the space. We also are KCDI, Cavoy Community Development Institute Jamaica, is also a United Nations accredited institution where we sit on their Economic and Social Council, providing advice in regards to direction for the development of projects and programs that address needs in the respective spaces. We also we are a pioneering organization, meaning most of our programs are pioneering courses. And we speak more specifically to this one, the Grave Diggers. The official name is the internment operation. And the other one is we developed a training program, a 6 weeks forklift training program. And let me hasten to add, both programs are fully endorsed by Jamaica's national training agency, Heart Trust, which is what we call, they provide a National Vocational Qualification Certification, NVQ, for these programs, which we have now rolling out. And to the point, we're looking to have these programs scaled up, in particular, the Grave Diggers internment operation, to going forward. So in a nutshell, KCDI, Cavoy Community Development Institute, we are an advocacy group along with providing training and training across the region in these two fundamental areas. Thanks.
Well, it seems as though that we can identify with that. I mean, people might be wondering, why are we talking about grave diggers? Why do we want people to be trained in that area? And I think that you are opening up our own understanding. Each of these areas that we are speaking about, they have their own value, and indeed we do need to have people certified in those areas. Yes, and I think I want to say hats off to you for that initiative, and certainly looking forward to see how our communities here in Carriacou in particular can benefit and contribute towards that process. What do you say, Amber?
Well, I'm pretty much true, because in Grenada, in recent times, we have been heading down the path of skills training, CVQ courses, and I think it's a step in the right direction, because we have to look at not only, the areas of carpentry and sewing and as he explained, the forklifting and so forth. And sometimes we forget that aspect of our community, these persons in those communities. So we are pleased to know that there is an organization, and you are an NGO, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so it's a non-governmental organization took this initiative to actually come up with this very important certification for the grave diggers. And you are saying that this is it a CVQ or a NVQ?
As it stands at this very point in time, on the 5th of October, it is a NVQ, and it is in the process of being scaled up to a CVQ in very short order as we speak.
Yes, you want to explain to our listeners what it means to be a NVQ or CVQ?
Okay, thank you. The NVQ is a national vocational qualification to which member states can develop their own standards in regards to respective training programs. The program, it is now sent to a regional body that therefore endorse the standards to be accepted regionally. But one must be mindful of the fact that a CVQ, which is a Caribbean vocational qualification, speaks to areas such as yours and others that do not have a NVQ, so to speak, but they mainly operate on a CVQ. Let me hasten to add, a NVQ is accepted in member states if they themselves, if the respective country accepts those standards, which they do, but they normally operate with the CVQ, such as Grenada. Grenada, my understanding, and I stand corrected here, is that you operate with CVQs mainly and not NVQ. But it does not negate the fact that you will accept an NVQ standard from the region because it's already accepted regionally from the vocational body that is still there. So the two distinctions, one is for national use and one is for Caribbean use. But the national ones can be accepted by respective member states. It's an individual choice going forward. The CVQ is accepted regionally without question.
Well, that is very informative, and it's good that the listening public will now understand the difference between the CVQ and the NVQ. What we want to look at in terms of the grave diggers, you are saying that this is an NVQ. So how does one go about obtaining that NVQ? What? Because we are talking about grave diggers national qualification standards. So what aspect or what components will be covered under that NVQ?
This I will turn over to Mr. Fitzgerald, who can speak from a more informed point of view on this matter, being the assessor who has been certified by our certification body here, which is NCTVET here in Jamaica. Mr. Fitzgerald, can you speak to this on this matter, please?
All right, thank you very much, Mr. McLaren. All right, the areas we cover right now, and it is not final because we intend to, as time progresses, in very short order, expand the scope to include other aspects of it. But what we will assess now is the construct landscape project work for cemeteries and gardens. We want to assess on how to dig a grave manually. I know everybody digs a grave, but what we want to do is to create a standard, to essentially standardize how we dig graves. And we want to observe ethical practices. And what are these ethical practices? It is how we go about after these afterlife care, with the necessary safety precautions and safety gears that we are meant to wear. And then the last part we focus on right now is the use of mobile IT devices, and that is a little bit curious. What we would want to ask the question: what does mobile IT devices have to do with grave digging? We can look at simple things. When we talk about landscaping, if we go back up to the first bullet point, we speak about landscaping. The whole idea of geolocating graves, either for the worker or the cemetery management team, or for the families and friends of deceased persons who are buried. Then these mobile IT services, locating, when people can put in the location or the name of a deceased person, the grave number, and persons can use their phones to locate that instead of having to depend on somebody to take them there. This is also a part of what we are considering in it.
Okay,
That
so
that sounds great, Amber.
yes.
I mean, we may not be, familiar with this kind of things. I mean, for example, here, for what my own limited knowledge about that is that someone dies and we just dig a grave, a spot there, and we just dig a grave, but it has standards now that we have to adhere to, and this I think is excellent. The part where he says that you could just some IT. You could know where your relatives or families or friends or graves are. You could know where the graves are. And by just everything these days is IT. Everything these is just click. So that also is interesting for us here.
Well, yes, indeed. Mr. Fitzgerald, yeah, you talk to the IT devices, and I kind of like that aspect because sometimes, depending on where the graves are located, going physically to the site sometimes can can be challenging. Um, so and of course that is also determined on weather patterns and all of these things. I also like the part of the ethical practices because sometimes we like to move graveyards markings and stuff, and we do not consider the ethical practices, the digging of the grave manually. We know that now they have lifted the standards to now digging with machines. How does that fit into, wouldn't there be a specific standards for that also, like in the training? Because they dig with machines now.
I am glad you asked that. Yes, in the overall qualification, these that is also a consideration. The digging with a backhoe, the digging with a and with an excavator, the digging with, if you have rocks and all of these things, the digging of grave using jackhammers and other implements. Yes, it will be a part, and it has been considered as well. It will be a part of the whole qualification standard eventually. We have already set it. It is one of those components that exists in the broader scheme of things. But as we roll it out, then gradually all these things will get into place, and it won't take long.
Okay, well that's very good to know because physically we know that it will take a moment, well, to dig a grave than if you're using a backhoe. So the cost of digging it and the speed at which you dig with a backhoe, of course, will, the persons would look at the most financially affordable way of getting the work done. You spoke also of the health aspect, what you wear to dig a grave, because our practice here in Grenada is that we dig with our regular clothes. I mean, we do not really consider the health aspect of digging a grave. What do we do after we dig a grave? How do we care for our bodies? Or how do we care for even the remains? I'm also familiar with scenarios where person earmark an area to dig for to bury somebody, and then when they go to start to dig, there is already a grave there.
Some form of coffin inside there already.
Right. So I'm also very much happy with the fact that you mentioned that we can use the technology to earmark grave, even if there isn't a headstone to identify that there is a grave there on site. But with the mapping, using the IT, you would be able to tell that there is a grave there, even if the markers has been removed. Right. So we are pretty much excited about that. Um, we still on the grave digging part. So we are saying that who are the likely persons to be engaged in the training? Because there are persons who handle also the financial aspect, the logistical aspect. There are person who does the maintenance of the grave, and the person who actually does the preparation of the grave. So are we looking at all persons as a training encompass everybody, or just the mere diggers of the grave?
All right.
Well, thank you. Sorry. Go ahead.
We will
Sure.
we will look to engage the cemetery owners and operators of both the private cemeteries and the municipal cemeteries. And we also look to engage cemetery workers, not just the grave diggers, but there are other persons who are engaged in the whole operation of a cemetery. So the persons who would be the grave diggers, the persons who will essentially be directing the hearses of the mourners, the pallbearers to the respective grave bearers, because these persons are essential part of the whole operation of a cemetery. So yes, so these are the persons, so the cemetery workers and the grave diggers, the operators and owners of the cemetery, and at some point, the persons who provides the afterlife services, the funeral operators, the planners, these persons will eventually be a part of the process.
Okay, because why I'm asking that is because the operators, the person who provide the services, sometimes they are the one contracting the diggers, right? So we have to make sure we are saying that in order for them to hire a digger, let's say our country accept this qualification, they would have to be aware that these persons have the CVQ, or they are trained. Sorry, in the NC in this case you said it's an NVQ, right? Right, that they have the NVQ in order for you to actually hire them or give them some kind of contract to perform that service. So I'm happy that they are also involved, because once this program rolled out, right, for our island, it's a little bit different in our island in comparison to Jamaica, from what I understand from Mr. Donovan. So what we're looking at in terms of the NVQ, what would be, would there be like a startup minimum qualification that you need in order to attain this certificate? Do I have to finish secondary school? Do I have to finish primary school? Or do I have previous knowledge in grave digging, or do I just come hands down and say, well, I want to grave dig, I want to be a grave digger so I can obtain this qualification?
Well, thank you for that, man. Thank you for that. In particular, the name of the program is the official name is internment operations. We use the word grave diggers just as to make it quickly be identified, but the official name is internment operation. And yes, the requirement would follow the same standard of the respective national vocational training agencies, because this program is a vocational training program that has been cleared and certified by the national training agencies. So in particular, in your country, your national vocational training agency would set the standard fund to participate. And we are also mindful of the fact that there are also those with prior learning experience will also be incorporated in the program, and it is your agency that will set the requirements for them, i.e. meaning you might not have CHC or, well, GCE, that's dated my age, but you might not have CHC, but you can therefore, your training agency in Grenada will say the number of years you ought to have before you can participate in the program. So to answer your question more succinctly, it is the respective member states' national training agency will set the requirements, but regionally, there's a standard requirements to enter the national vocational training programs.
Okay, so that is very important. So in our country, of course, we have the National Training Agency, right, which is NTA, And so you did indicate earlier on that you would have held discussions, of course, with the relevant stakeholders in our country. We would like to know how receptive have they been towards that let me use the correct word in torment operators, grave diggers.
Well, okay, thank you for that. The determined operation, the response has been quite favorably, and not only in your space, but across the region, because many national vocational training agencies across the Caribbean, they themselves are surprised that they weren't able to capture this standard as yet. But nevertheless, they welcome both your agency and those in the civil in the community colleges component have also welcomed the introduction of this program in your space. And I must hasten to add also in the region, because member states have also welcomed the program, because we all in the Caribbean have grave diggers. And they welcome the fact that there's now a standard wherein on completion of this program, the practitioner or the learner can now put on his CV or his resume that I am a level 2 certified grave digger. And it was also raised the standard of living from from a laborer to a qualified and certified professional going forward. So to answer your question clearly, the response in your has been very welcoming going forward, both from your national trading agency and the community college there.
You know, I heard you use the word laborer, and my knowledge on understanding is that when someone dies and you have to dig a grave, you refer to laborers. You call some people, dig a grave for me. But it is more than just digging a grave. It is also doing it right. There are standards. And I think, interestingly, this is a very important aspect of building oneself up. So a laborer gets a pay, and somebody who's qualified gets a pay. And of course, the laborer in our context really doesn't value much in terms of who they are, what they are, just digging a grave. But if you are a qualified, certified, professional, I would say, person, it influences the kind of pay you attract. So it's not just far-fetched. It's something that we need to look at, reconsider how we do things, and seek to set our boundaries on standards, to standards and regulations. And I think it's a very good thing. Yes, sir.
Sorry. Okay, Mr. Donovan. I'm just adding. Mr. Milton just stated, of course, that he did indicate that laborers, of course, get paid on a certain scale. So being able to lift the bar, I think it's quite crucial. And not only for within states, as Mr. Donovan and Mr. Fitzgerald just explained, is about being able to travel across the Caribbean region, because we talk about CSME. Most persons, they move from island to island, and they are now able to provide some level of certification, not just saying that I am a laborer, but I am a trained professional in that area. I'm a professional in that area. I know what the required standards are. I have met the required standards. I've been assessed, and I am well on my way building a decent CV. Right? So we are very much pleased in Grenada to welcome KCDI and this wonderful accreditation, and this addition to our NVQ, right? As explained, there's NTA approves, TA Community College, Marshall College approves, and it is left now to the public to receive what is already in place, because it's not a matter of from the bottom top. We are saying that the top people accept it, and they are the bodies that regularize this the qualification, the national vocational qualification. So, grave diggers, interment operators, we are indeed pleased and happy to know that no one is left behind, Mr. Coy.
Certainly.
And KCDI is making that definitely possible across the region. And we want to say hats off to this prestigious body that takes time to recognize that every single person, regardless to the gift and the skills, that they are valid and that there's some form of certification, even for the simple man on the ground. So, in Mr. Donovan or Mr. Fitzgerald, would you like to add anything that you think might be pertinent about your organization or the exchange that you had with, for example, the community college? How soon do we expect this certification to be available in our island?
Thank you. Thank you, Amber. What we are looking at as we speak, as I said, the discussions with the community college have been fruitful, and that also with your national training agency. We are now awaiting the CVQ to be issued, to be awarded, the scaling up of an NVQ to CVQ, and then the moving forward in regards to the implementation on this matter. Both institutions are idea to further discussion are in an advanced stage as we speak. What I will also like to add is that I will implore all persons in your space, not only just the grave diggers, but the cemetery owners and the government aid, the municipalities, to be aware, because our presence here is to raise awareness of the availability of this course. And it augurs well for private cemetery owners to ensure that their employees are certified in regard to delivering service, because it will affect their bottom line when customers know that the persons that are doing the job are qualified and trained persons. So this course is not only for the grave diggers, but it's for the cemetery managers, superintendents, cemetery owners, and also for those themselves, young persons, because as you noted, technology is a part of it. And just to add some clarification, machinery is already approved in the standards. What Mr. Fitzgerald mentioned there is those that we cannot make assessment for at this time, especially as it relates to your particular space. But machinery and other components, the full standard of the qualification is online. So it's not something that's in secret. One can simply go to the Heart Trust NTA website and put in the grave digger standard, and you will get the full array of what is available and how it will be implemented. Again, I encourage all persons in the reach of the sound of my voice to speak to your national training agencies, your community colleges, your vocational training institution, and inquire about this program to see how best you can be a part of it. Because at the end of the day, it will increase your income and your standard as cemetery owners to those that are digging graves.
Donovan.
And one last thing. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, yeah, you were saying about the tomb and the machinery, but I also know it is a practice for tomb making, and normally they use the contractors to construct the tomb. How does that fit into your modules?
Mr. Fitzgerald, as I said, being the assessor, can speak more definitively on the construction component. Mr. Fitzgerald?
All right. Ironically, a tomb is just a different form of grave. Therefore, there is also a standard for it. Because, all right, locally in Jamaica, we have different kinds of graves. In fact, in some of our cemeteries, we have graves where we have two persons being buried one on top of the other.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have graves that we like and we have all of these graves. So we have a wide cross section of graves. But essentially they are just what they are. They are actually placed for burial. But when we use the term grave diggers, really and truly the standard is also one of the components in the interment management. It says construction of a grave. So that will say to you, apart from digging it, then you might have to block it up, and you have different methodologies that you want to use to do different types of burial places. So the tomb is really it is covered under the wider curriculum on the interment management qualification program. So once you get it, you will see that tomb is there and or we construct tomb, whether it's on a hillside, above ground, on level land, or wherever, whether we want to have one on top of the other or two beside each other. So we have all of these components in the interment management curriculum.
Okay. Thank you very much for sharing, enlightening us on that aspect. And Donovan, you can continue.
Yes, thank you again. The development of this national qualification standard was done in collaboration with our trust and stakeholders here in Jamaica, meaning burial persons and the ministry. And all this was led by our community development training unit director, Dr. Margaret Chin, who is by profession a curriculum development specialist. So Case Jamaica Cavoy Community Development Institute have put not only time but resources to ensure that the standards are of the highest quality for not just only Jamaicans, but the Caribbean on a whole, because this dovetails into our overall objective as to raising the standard of living for all persons in that burial sector going forward.
Okay, so we have a range of experts, right, who came together to actually create that entire certification course. Well, we are very much pleased, and we are more informed. We have just been educated that there is not NVQ, sorry, training in interment operation, better known as a grave diggers course, to be launched very soon in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, and definitely across the Caribbean region. It means that we are lifting our bar. It means that we are providing more opportunities for persons to get certified. We are also improving the livelihoods of persons who are now being able to get asked for higher wages based on their qualification. We are also thinking about our communities, not only in terms of just generating money. We are also looking at the health aspect also. How do we manage the afterlife, right? How do we control our space also, the landscape? And I'm certain also that they would be qualified also in selecting regions that are appropriate for burial and those that are deemed unfit for burial. That would be part of the training also, I would take, right? So it is not just a piece of paper. We are talking about changing livelihoods. And we are pleased that KCDI, which is Cavoy Community Development Institute of Jamaica, has partnered with Hot Trust to present the Caribbean region with this very important NVQ Level 2 certification. And as time go along, we would be braced with the presence of Mr. Donovan and Mr. Fitzgerald in the future. So please, you are invited to stay tuned because this is just the first of many episodes of what KCDI will be partnering with Vibes, the team of Vibes, Optimist Show, to let us know what is happening in our space in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. So in closing, Mr. Fitzgerald, do you have anything to say in closing?
All right. I welcome your invitation, and I'm looking forward to it. But some of the feedback I want to just expound on interaction with the stakeholders, and some of the feedback we get is that we get some interest, we have anticipation, and there are expectation. Interest because people want to see what will happen when when the grave diggers are better qualified and have a standard to actually operate. They anticipate that they will get better service, and that their client, will also have better service, and they expect that the standard of operation of these persons will improve. And some of the grave diggers are expecting that because of CARICOM, they will be able to share their skills with other persons across the region. And we at KCDI, we are also very excited and expectant that once we get it out, it will be accepted and implemented across the region as well.
Okay. Well, we are very grateful that KCDI and persons directly involved have taken this opportunity to be here on Vibes 101.3 and to be not only on air, but of course, just remember we are on Facebook Live too, and we are also streaming on our YouTube page. So we're hoping that this message does not stay one spot, that it radiates, that persons are receiving, that the relevant persons are listening. And even if they are not, we invite persons to please spread this information because it is very vital. Gone are the days when there were very little certification for the ordinary skilled person. Now we are talking about certifying our interment, being certified in grave digging, in interment management. And just to pitch a little, I mean, just to tickle you a little bit, is there anything such as sanitary warden certification, like those who pick up garbage and stuff like that? Do you have anything in the making for these community of persons?
I believe there is, if one can visit the vocational qualification standards, there is such a qualification available, and it's already published on the website where one can look, and it is under Hard Trust NCTVET 2023 listing.
Okay.
That one can find the job qualification and the period qualification that supports same. CTVET 2023 new qualifications that have been posted for this year. And I believe that which you speak of is covered on that listing. Okay.
So in closing, I know people like to talk dollar and cents. If I am to do this qualification, does a module or does KCDI actually propose the salary scale for that level of certification, or is it in discussion with the National Trading Agency to where you offer that course? There'll be some kind of, or they have to set the guidelines?
And that, as it relates to Grenada specifically, that is a matter to which stakeholders in that space will have to determine that level of compensation. But there is, as far as we are concerned, regionally, there ought to be a standard going forward. But the best person to advise on such matters is your main stakeholders. That would be your employment federation, if there is such, the national training agencies going forward. But KCDI couldn't speak to that, being as though we are just training facilitators that develop training programs. The monetary side of it, we don't venture that far.
Well, Well, I think that you are actually playing a very crucial part already in getting the qualification, the certification done. So it is good to know that the dollars and cents is in the hands of the countries who have decided to take on such certification courses. So the NTAs and TA Community College and all the relevant stakeholders, our ministries, Ministry of Labor, and our unions. And we hope that this now would be extended, because if they're certified, it means that later on they would definitely be unionized and they can have power and voice to speak on their behalf. So we are grateful once again to have Mr. Donovan, and who is the executive officer and chair, and Mr. Fitzgerald, who is the assessor, one of the main assessor in the region, the only assessor currently for that program. I just want to make sure I have it right.
Yes.
Right. So the only assessor for that program. It was indeed a pleasure having you on air with us this morning. And remember, we are saying that our focus for this season is all about community. And we have just enlightened an entire community, not only the community of Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique, but for the listening diaspora, all those out there who are listening, the other Caribbean regions, St. Vincent, we are talking St. Lucia, we are talking Dominica. We are talking about spreading this information far and wide to ensure that we improve the livelihoods of people. And as we say on the Optimist Show, we keep hope alive. And so we are happy to provide this hopeful event that will soon be launched right here in Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. So once again, KCDI, we appreciate your presence, and we hope to see you in the near future.
Thank you for having me, and I hope thank you as well.
So that was KCDI Jamaica with very valuable information for the general public of Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. Stay tuned as the Optimist Show presents you with much more information.
This is an urgent call to all citizens. The Grenada Human Rights Organization, GHRO Incorporative, is engaging all nationals. Getting to know your rights is your civic responsibility. So join the GHRO team. Let's promote and create greater awareness on abuses and violations within society. Stop the Abuse Initiative, protecting the rights of the marginalized and the vulnerable. Human rights and social justice belongs to all the people without discrimination and victimization. So together, let's promote and protect our rights. Stop the abuse against children, the elderly, all marginalized members of society, those living in poverty, all citizens. Join the movement. Email grenadahumanrights@gmail.com. Telephone numbers 473-419-5479 and 407-4597. Website www.grenadahumanrights.org.
Equal rights and justice.
It's estimated 1 in every 10 people in Grenada have the sickle cell trait. Having the trait does not mean you are sick or unhealthy. Very healthy people have the trait. Unfortunately, many of these people are unaware that they carry the trait. You see, when two people with the trait have a child, there is a 1 in 4 chance that the child will be born with the sickle cell disease. That is why it is important to know if you have the trait. Sickle cell is associated with life-threatening conditions, and it can be very painful. You see, the body's red cells can pass freely through the arteries and veins, but the sickle cells can get stuck, and this is what causes pain. This disease, you cannot catch it from someone. It is inherited. You are born with the trait or the full-blown disease. It comes from your parents. So let's talk sickle cell and what it is about and what can be learned about it and how to live with it. Let's all make better decisions about our family's health by learning the facts and getting tested. A message from the Sickle Cell Association of Grenada. Please call 458-6399 or email us at grenadasc@gmail.com.
You know, that song, it tells us that something's got to change. That's one of the songs we play here often on the Optimist Show. We can't continue the way things are going. We got to change some of the stuff. So let's take in this song, and we'll be right back with you after this.
Something's gonna have to change. Things just can't go on this way. Something's gonna have to change. Things just can't go on this way. Rain keeps falling on the city street. The morning coming and I'm still on my feet. Time's like a river flowing slow. I'm still walking with nowhere to go. And something's gonna have to change. Things just can't go on this way. Something's gonna have to change. Things just can't go on this way. The young lights keep on shining down on me, but I'm cold and lonely as a man can be. Streets are empty of the morning light, and I've got to make it through another night. Oh. Searching for clues. Something's gonna have to change. Things just can't go on this way. Something's gonna have to change. Things just can't go on this way. Someone told me that so long ago, the streets of London are all paved with gold. But let me tell you that it's just not so. The streets are dirty and you sleep in the cold and all. Something's gonna have to change. Things just can't go on the way. Something's gonna have to change. Things just can't go on this way.
All right, that's Ruth Jackson, one of our favorites on this Optimist Show. The same one that gave us Carriacou, Carriacou. We'll get in a little while, at least before the program ends. So Let's continue to stay with us here on the vibes. Oh, what has just happened? Um, a very interesting conversation there. I believe that we need to give our listeners an opportunity to be able to, if they have any interest in this and what we talked about. How it's called again? I don't want to use use the common word that we are always using. How it's called? There's a professional way.
Management.
It's called what?
Interment management.
Interment.
Interment management.
Management. Yes, and it was not only just the
operators.
Operators, right? Not just those who dig the grave, but of course the entire process. And so on. So if they want to call, if someone is interested and wants to call and say, listen, hey, put me down for this when it's going to happen. Where can they reach? How can they reach us to get the message for that activity? They can call 407-4597. Yes, 407. And interestingly, we're talking about National Training Agency and CAMS Training Institute is also part of the whole process of CBQs and NBQs. I think pretty soon we are going to be able to train people in various areas where they can gain the NBQ and of course CBQ. So it's interesting, that we are also on this path, trying to get people certified and qualified. No, we just can't do things anyhow and say, well, we will ignore standards. We have to be able to live with standards. Yes, the whole issue of standards again, Amber, is that now we are coming out of this burial experience, and rebuilding is not just rebuilding; it has to be done with standards. Yes, to avoid the kind of catastrophe I would say that occurred due to the lack of standards that we have been practicing here in the past. And so going forward, as the song says, something's got to change. We just can't continue to go on this way. Yes, so it's interesting and important. We want to reach out to our people out there. Listen, you can make a difference. And something I like about this program again, Amber. I mean, you're not a laborer. Some people treat you as though you're just there, just to I don't know. You're not a laborer. You are now becoming you are now a professional, whatever it is. And I like the question that you asked in regard to those people who how we call them? We have a way of calling them.
Well, we say garbage collectors.
Garbage collectors, and so you are not just a laborer or just a garbage collector. You are a professional. You're certified and qualified, and demands and should be given the kind of respect. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very, very positive thing going forward. What do you think, Amber?
Well, actually, I'm looking forward to really see the rollout of this interment operator certification. I think it's a step in the right direction. With the advent of the bar being lifted in terms of qualification, how many persons are actually now leaving with CXCs and GCs and so forth. We definitely have to be mindful that there are still persons who may not be able to get that kind of certification. So being able to provide that kind of accreditation for persons without a diploma, like a school leaving certificate or a high school certification, it is very crucial because the Caribbean landscape is getting small. And by that, I'm not saying that it's shrinking, but the ease at which you can move from place to place and the movement of persons has increased so drastically that we have to ensure that when our people move, they can carry their certification that is going to be valid from country to country, and that they would be able to make a decent living wherever they are. So I'm pretty much looking forward to that. And as Donovan explained earlier on, there is already some kind of certification for, I don't say garbage collector, sanitary wardens,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
There is some sort of certification there. And from day to day, I have utmost respect for persons who pick up garbage, our sanitary wardens. Without them, we will not be a healthy community. These persons are very important. They are very, very important in our space, and we have to credit them in the right way, be it in salary or just being able to recognize and appreciate what they do for our communities day in, day out.
Certainly. Certainly. All right. I think that was a very, very useful conversation, and certainly we want to follow that up going forward here on the Optimist Show. We keep hope alive. So don't think that because of what you do or your interests, you are being left behind. Yeah, we build everybody. So when we talk about the whole issue of building, rebuilding the communities, we're not only talking about putting back your roof. In our specific situation, I'm talking about not only about putting back your roof, or so some of us still have tarpaulin. We're not talking about the physical material systems, but we're also talking about building the lives, the livelihoods of people, so they can thrive and they can flourish and they can prosper. Doesn't matter what they choose, what they would have chosen. Yeah, that's their interest. That's their interest, and do not let and should not be treated less than how we will treat others with other positions and other callings and other areas of interest. All right, Amber. So we've just coming up with, as I said in my introduction, I talked about it. We're just coming out of the situation. This is the first program since we have had Ivan. Ivan, I'm saying, wow, I find myself always from time to time saying Ivan, and that has still been on my mind.
As a matter of fact, I think this is not only you alone. Yesterday, I was speaking and I said Ivan.
Yeah. What is better? I guess with time, and we are just about in the 90s. On Tuesday coming will be 100 days since burial, and we are planning to give you a cap, a glimpse, more than a glimpse, really, of what has happened during this past 100 days. Could you imagine? Could you imagine that we have made all these days? I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of people who did not think that we would have seen all these days because it was so gloom and dark that we just, wow. But we give thanks. You see, when you keep hope alive, positive things can happen and do happen. And we can now say, wow, boy, I've made it thus far. Yes, Amber.
Indeed. Indeed. And as Mr. Coy rightly states, it's all about keeping hope alive. And regardless to where you are, your situation, your circumstances, it's all about never giving up, never quitting. Always think ahead, think about the brighter days ahead of you. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and you can get there. But we want to emphasize this season is about community, not just getting yourself there, but being able to support another brother, another sister, to be able to look after your families, to be able to look after your village, the wider community, your country, right? The tri-island state as a whole. So Carriacou is not going to get there, and Petit Martinique is not following suit, right? We're talking about moving communities and making things happen. How do we go about empowering each other, right, on that journey? So during the course of this season, that's what we want to emphasize. We want to, as I said, we'll be showcasing a lot about community work and community involvement and how we can move forward as one. And as we have to go back to our theme for this 50th independence. Peril has overshadowed all of that, but in the midst, we're talking about one people, one journey, one
future.
future,
Yes.
right? So empowering. We have to empower each other.
Um,
Empower each other.
you spoke about the fact that we're going to be focusing on community engagement, involvement, and empowering. Next on next week program, we're going to be having a group that's been doing a lot of work here in Carrico, a community group. But has accepted the challenge to rebuild our own lives and empowering. And I think we're going to be having ISPA. ISPA we're going to be featured next week, and following weeks we're going to be featuring various community groups. Yes, what they do and how we can lean on them. Sometimes we can, sometimes we feel so down and out and dejected. But community groups. So what is that? One person coming at your door and say, hi, listen, you're gonna make it. But several people coming, and of course everybody will be different, but they're coming to cheer you up, to cheer your family up, your children, the senior citizens there. So the community has that responsibility.
And may I add, Mr. Coy, when we speak of community groups, we are not talking about registered NGOs only, right? I just want to clear the air on that. There are different communities. It could be your community, can be your church family, your church people. It can be maybe just a collection of persons who reach from time to time, discussing the issues and supporting each other. That's a community. We are talking about the fisher folks community. We are talking about the farmers community. We are talking about probably even the children have community, right? So we want to basically tap into these various communities and see exactly what are you doing? What have you been doing? What do you continue to do? How do you continue to thrive as a community in your space? How can we support? How can we advocate on your behalf? Right? And as Mr. Coy say, we want to extend on air an invitation to these groups wherever you are. The space is open. So you can come in. Remember, we left a number. You can call and say, Mr. Coy, I would like to be on the program. So we are very much pleased to have this space to share it with you, right? So that we can in turn let the wider space, which is a wider community, Grenada, Carrico, and Peter Martinique, and the diaspora, the Caribbean region as a whole, to let them be aware, to become aware of who you are and what you are doing to make your space brighter.
We talk about reaching out to people, empowering people. Amber, I know we all have had an experience on July 1st, following almost 100 days ago. Yes, and we have reached this far. It's not been an easy road to get here. Sometimes the roads were the path was lonely, dark, watery. And yeah, it was that challenging. But here we are today, looking back and saying, had it been for the mercies of God, where could we have been? Where would we have been? And I want us to also include that, because in this new season, we're talking about rebuilding lives, rebuilding our lives. What were you before? What were you doing before? How engaged were you before and today? I mean, some people are broken. Literally, because of what they saw and experienced, just fallen dead. I'm just saying. So our lives have to be rebuilt. Our confidence have to be back. Our vision has to be, clearer now. What we want to accomplish, it has to be the focus going forward. So I'm very much committed to people. People, as I said, as I'd always say, we're not perfect, but we want to see people grow and develop. This would not be the same for the next 5 years. Next 5 years' time, we might not even remember what time the hurricane passed. Yeah, but the point I'm making is that we have to make it our duty, and this program is going to be focusing a lot on rebuilding the lives, bringing back the love, bring back the understanding, bring back those things that we once held on to, neighborliness, friendliness, and we will continue to build. And so it's important that our lives be that part of our lives be addressed. So I want to appeal to all our listeners, wherever you are, whoever you are. Yes, let's build our lives and the lives of others. Let's empower them. Let's ensure that not necessarily that they have a meal, but let's ensure that they can smile. Yes, and so bring this to a level where people would want to be part of a community of people who are positive community. I mean, you can be in a group of people, and all they're talking about is negative things and negative things. And that's a community too, but we want to promote that kind of community in our midst at this time. We want to promote a community where you can. I see you're smiling.
Yeah, I'm smiling. I'm smiling because sometimes I'm reminded of some of our watchwords that we use on the Optimist show, and I'm also reminded of some of the lenses that we look at analyzing different situations, and of course, bearing in mind that we always talk about our three lenses: our hindsight, and our insight, and our foresight.
Yes.
And also, one of our main mantra is, of course, keeping hope alive. And this season really allowed me to reflect on where did I place my hope?
Yeah, and in whom?
Where did I, and in whom?
Yes.
I place my hope.
Yes.
Right? Yes. So that was very much one of my lessons from burial. What and whom did I place my hope in? And that definitely assisted me in carrying my burdens.
And continue to.
Yes.
And to continue, because we're not saying that it's over, As I gave the illustration that sometimes we're crawling out of under the rubbles. Yeah? Thank goodness they didn't crush us. But we are crawling out under the rubbles, and we're looking down the road, and we see a light.
Yes.
And with each move we make, the light becomes brighter.
True. And we are reminded to get to the end, or in an attempt to get to the end, it requires steps. Mm-hmm. And if we were to count the days as steps, we have just taken 100 steps in the direction towards the light. So let's keep stepping on. Let's keep putting one foot after the other.
All right, let me play the song, and we'll come back in a little while and focus on some other important areas within the context of rebuilding lives, rebuilding communities.
Yeah. Chris Kelly. Corleone. Never let them take it away. Tomorrow is another day. Never give in, don't ever give in. Just work hard, give thanks and pray. I believe that one day I'll rise. Nothing will ever stop my progress. Won't stop till the day I die. I want it bad and I won't take no less. Them try fight, them can't stop my flow. Cause everywhere me go, you know me make them know. I believe that one day I'll rise to fulfill all my dreams. I've been through all of the ups and downs. It's not an easy road. Working hard every night and day and carrying a heavy load. But I got to believe it's my journey. Keep strong so it won't break me. I gotta keep my dreams alive. I won't back down. I will survive. I believe that one day I'll rise. Nothing will ever stop my progress. Most until the day I die. I want it bad and I won't take no less. Them try fight, them can't stop my flow. Cause everywhere me go, you know I make them know. I believe that one day I'll rise to fulfill all my dreams, yeah. I've had my knocks, but I pick up myself again. Paid all my dues, man, will this ever end? While them a scheme me, I keep up with my dream. Them a smiling, I'm a face, and not a time to pretend. Gotta focus all on me now. So clear, cause I can see now. I'm gonna throw out all my fears. So save your talk for someone who cares. I believe that one day I'll rise. Nothing will ever stop my progress. Goes up till the day I die. I want it bad and I won't take no less. Them try fight, them can't stop my flow. Cause everywhere me go, you know I make them know. I believe that one day I'll rise to fulfill all my dreams, yeah. And can't stop it any time of day. This is my life, so me not gonna play. Working hard till I get my way. Negativity, I go fade away, oh yeah. The prize is mine for sure. Every day I feel it more and more. I got you talking when you see me walking. There's nothing you can do now. Nothing will ever stop my progress. Goes up till the day I die. I want it bad and I won't take no less. Them try fight, them can't stop my flow. Cause everywhere me go, you know I make them know. I believe that one day I'll rise to fulfill all my dreams. I believe that one day I'll rise. Nothing will ever stop my progress. Goes up till the day I die. I want it bad and I won't take no less. Them try fight, them can't stop my flow. Cause everywhere me go, you know I make them know. I believe that one day I'll rise to fulfill all my dreams, yeah.
Certainly one day, and the day starts now. Day is always about now. All right, what we want to do right now is to recognize some of the people who are following us, and you are there with us at this time. Yes, we are. I know. I understand. All right. Well, let's not go there and try to confuse our listeners. Yes. All right. Yeah, we want to recognize some of the people. Take it off. All right. So we want to recognize some of the people who we are seeing on the Facebook, on our pages. Don't forget, we are, we get in there. We'll have it smooth as we go forward. So let me just say good morning to I think I want to say good morning to Mrs. Carol Antoine. In fact, that's Masha's mom. Masha used to be on the program here with us, doing the new zone. Of course, things have. All right, yeah, we're just trying to get some things straight here and do not allow ourselves to get carried away. But yes, we want to say good morning to, as I said, Mrs. Carol Antoine, who is Masha's mom, and for all those other people who have been following us here on what we do on the Optimist show. Let me see who else I see on the show there this morning. I want to say good morning to Ali Mitchell up there in Canada. Yes, I don't think she was part of the Optimist show then, but she has been part of. She is now part of the whole process and keeping us in touch. So Carol is saying good morning to you. Good to have the Optimist show back for the new season. Welcome back. And indeed, we welcome back. We have Tyrone Noel. Good morning, everyone. And we also have C. Francis. Good Saturday morning to you, Milton, and your guests, and Grenada. We have people. And there are some people out there who is just following us wherever you go. I guess you have some shout outs you want to also say to your um, fans and friends. Oh, by the way, talking about fans and friends, I mean, I don't know how we missed it, but basically, we're talking about groups and organizations and so on and community. We have Hope FC, Hope FC, and it falls right within where we at. Um, Hope FC. Uh, we're talking about children. Tell us what Hope FC is, and then you can go and shout out to your fans and friends and relatives and everyone.
Well, thank you, Milton, for, of course, always promoting Hope FC, humanitarian outreach promoting empowerment for children. And of course, Hope FC is an NGO organization that looks after the needs, whether it is educating, whether it's providing assistance, clothing or food, or just advocating when the need arises. We work hand in hand also with ISPAR, Island School of Performing Arts. And ISPAR is currently hosting a workshop that has started just in the turn of burial, after burial. And not only that, ISPAR is also conducting, or they have conducted, as a matter of fact, shelter visits, bringing a sort of therapy relief utilizing music. So I was part of it also. I've been to the Leicester shelter, I've been to the Lauriston shelter, I've traveled even to Petit Martinique with them. They have traveled to the shelters in Hillsborough, the one at Bishop's College and the one in Hillsborough Government. And they have also traveled to Dover. I think there are two spots in Dover: the fishery and also the school compound. So, and not only that, ISPA was also on ground during the aftermath, doing cleanup of the Tirabelli area. And we want to shout out Kenroy Noel out there in Switzerland for making the journey all the way down after being moved. I mean, he said, I couldn't stay in Switzerland. I just had to come to do my beats and pieces. And that is what we're talking about. Community. You don't have to be here in person sometimes, but when you feel moved, you just can't sit down when you see a brother or sister being affected, right? And I would have seen that spirit expressed by many other communities, the church community, the JW, whether it's the Jehovah, who came to assist their brothers and sisters, and many other organizations, Heart 911. We've seen I Love You. And the government page would have listed several entities who showed up. The Ghanese community, the Barbados community. I once I was coming in on the boat and I also saw Belize. It's Brazil. Brazil. I want to make sure I get it right. Right. The Brazilian community was here. We had so much support, so much love from persons and some of them never even came to Carriacou before
Or even heard about that.
or heard of Carriacou. And we receive so much love from the wider community that, Mr. Coy, we have to say that we are indeed grateful. We have to display gratitude for all those who would have lent support, even if you didn't come physically. You were able to make donations. Some people travel to drop off donations to areas where they were picking up, whether it's in the US or in the UK, and persons who visit the GoFundMe page, persons who continue to pray for our nation as we start, because remember, in all things we put God first, and persons who supported us in prayer. We are indeed grateful for the love and support that you have given to the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique during this time.
All right. I know I did mention to you that you would say a shout out to some of your families and friends, and of course,
Yes.
being part of all these organizations and understanding the value. Yeah.
Yes. So we want to shout out at this time. We have not seen Miss Gemma online, but she's a continued fan. So we want to remind the public that Gemma Guy, yes. We have well wishers, and Shireen is probably somewhere listening also, but she's also a friend of the Optimist. We want to shout out Audrey Wiggs, who is also a friend of the Optimist show. Rhonda James out there, who's also not here physically, but from time to time will grace us with her presence in terms of interview. We want to shout out the CARRISCAU big man out there in the UK, and our host, my mom, who is probably listening in New York right now, Angela. We want to shout out. I know I also have some UK friends. Sometimes Mirelle is listening out there in London. Maybe not online, but through live radio. So we want to tell you that we are here. We continue to do our advocacy work, and we appreciate your love and support given to the Optimist Show and to the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. And as we go forward, we hope to work hand in hand as we endeavor to transform this nation.
All right. Yes, there's the. Now, having said that, let me just make the point here, and it's important that we, that we understand how we're going forward. The month of October is a very special month, and we're going to be using activities during the month to bring messages and hope to all of us. The month of October, month of the child.
Yeah.
Yes, month of the child. So emphasis and focus will be on the children. I'm not just talking about things that we do just to as a show. We have to be genuinely interested in the development of children. In fact, one of the conventions, the convention that is used for the rights of the child, whatever we do has to be done in the best interest of the child. That's part of the convention, a commitment that we have to make. Whatever we do, it has to be done in the best interest of the child, not in our interest. Yeah, it is the best interest of the child. I know we're going to be getting into that during the course of this new season, the month of October. The month of October is also known as the month as International Day for the Elderly. That was observed on the 1st of October. It's a United Nations focus, but here in Grenada, we have extended it to be a whole month of activities and recognition. The 10th of October, mental health. We have friends who have been always involved in trying to bring support to that community of people. And we have to, as I said, not just do it because it's a show or it's something that we do every year, once a year. But we have to genuinely Yeah, look out for people. That's what we're talking about here in terms of rebuilding lives. Yeah, supporting lives, supporting, and of course teachers. They have they have some focus on during this month as well. There are others, but of course we're going to be sharing it with you um, as we go forward. But yeah, the child, it's not only about marching in the street and wearing jerseys. After they would have marched in the street and go to their homes, what do they get there? What do they find there? Do they find love? What we talking about? Yeah. Remember last time, sometime was it last year? We had this um, comment. In fact, it was see me as a child. See me. Don't just ignore me. I'm present. I'm in your midst.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just dwell. You know. Come on. See me. I am present. I'm in your midst. What are you doing about that? What are you ensuring? Whatever you do has to be done in the best interest of the child. So I'm just saying all this here that we need to that we really need to go beyond the show, go beyond the physical things that we see, go beyond it. It has to be genuine from the heart, from the heart.
Yes, Mr. Koy. I just want to add regarding the month of the child. What we notice now is that there are a series of activities put on by UNICEF regarding their 30th since they launched the CRC, which is the Convention of the Rights of the Child. And what we have, there's a deadline coming up soon. I think it's on the 9th of October. I think there's 3 categories of competition going on right now. Poster competition, I think for 6 to 10 years old, where you have to select one of the rights and create a poster on it and submit that. And of course, there are prizes to be won. I think it's 500 US or something of that effect. But you can check out the UNICEF page. It's on Facebook, and get the relevant information pertaining to the 30th anniversary of the CRC. I think for the older kids, there is a essay competition. I think between 12 to 1500 words, an essay competition, and of course there are prizes to be won. So different categories. I think this special entry is for the OECS countries. So you can please visit.
Yeah, hold on. Don't what you're saying. Your last word was visit. OECS. What does that mean?
Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States.
Organization again. Organization of the Caribbean States. And
Right.
Grenada is part?
Yes, Grenada is part.
Okay.
Carriacou is definitely part of Grenada. So hence we are also in that competition. Although you may see that school and stuff is listed, but you don't have to worry about that. You can still make the entry and include your school name, your teacher name, and also your parent and guardian information. So those interested, pay attention to the UNICEF page. There are lots of things to be done and a lot of opportunities to indulge your boy and girl. So as much as school may not be 100% functioning, and school is not only about math and English, it's about the holistic development of the child. So we want to ensure that we keep our children engaged, that we also check in on their mental health, because we may talk mental health and we think, well, it's only for crazy people or people who gone mad already. But also maintaining your health, your mental health is important, and especially around this time, with the experience of the trauma of a hurricane, all parties have to be concerned about their mental health. So it's not only those who already have a diagnosis, been diagnosed with a mental problem, but you have to ensure, just as how you take care of your teeth, you take care of your body, your eyes, and you visit the optician and so forth. You also have to ensure that you check in, right? Check in especially, and I want Parents, I want to highlight checking in. Parents highlighting checking in on their children and their mental health, right? And when you hear, Mom, I do not feel so well, I'm feeling confused, I'm feeling tired, or I don't know what to do, it is also important to check in on the kids' mental health. Sometimes they need to see a counselor, sometimes they need to see the psychologist, and some people may be a little shame and a little bit, I don't want people know that I'm going to see a counselor because it's only mad people go to a counselor. That is not true. And time for us to actually debunk that myth about mental health and being able to take care of it just as how we go to the doctor and when we're not feeling well with other parts of our body. The head is part of the body. As a matter of fact, it's probably one of the most crucial part of the body because it controls every other aspect. So we need to check in on our mental health, especially of our children. Provide space, as the CRC convention states. You got to provide space for relaxation and fun. You also have to provide space, safe space for them to be able to express themselves. And through ISPA, we are providing safe space for children to express themselves via music. Some can't come, they indulge in vocal, in singing, they involve in playing the musical instrument, and that is also providing, taking care of their mental health. So, just a reminder, although it's mental health, it's not only for adults. Children also have mental health, and we also have to take care of that aspect of our kids also. So that's my reminder for today regarding children and how it all ties in with mental health and also being able to support the convention on the rights of the child as signed on by our country. Our member states are part of that convention. As a matter of fact, it's one of the largest convention ever ratified. So we have to make sure that we are reminded that we are part of it and that we have to do what we can to ensure that we maintain that treaty.
You talk about children, but also I want to focus also bringing the point about the elderly.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, I mean, we could just stop and think about the trauma our seniors would have gone through during this whole episode with burial. We do need to genuinely, again, I would say, genuinely give them attention and support. Um, the aged, the aged. It's not in the future. Of course, there are statistics which says that in the year 2050 there will be more elderly than before. Yeah, that's to come in 20, probably 30 years time. Yeah, or less than that. But the point is, today they exist. Today they are alive. Today is the day that we have to ensure that they enjoy that mental health wellness you talk about. I mean, and imagine they would have gone through all kinds of things, Amber. I mean, we just don't understand. One of the experience I had during the burial time when burial came here. Um, I recall seeing some of my colleagues because I was part of the whole process at NADMA at the time. Um, I recall, and I went aside and I cried, literally cried, not in the company of those who were there. I went aside when they said to me that, well, us, that they formed, because after the burial passage, there's a thing they call um, rescue. There are a lot of people who we do not we had no idea what has become of them. The neighbors weren't able to say, yeah, um, secure and rescue people. And this team, along with some officers, they went looking for people who they knew had an idea. I mean, were by themselves, and they didn't heed, of course, the warnings given. But nonetheless, we had to find them. They went looking, search and rescue is the expression, and they found this man at his basement, in water, sitting there, Could you imagine if he had remained there for a couple of days? You know, and you know that reached me. He was there just sitting. Some of his neighbors said they haven't seen him since. When the bus took man go inside, he was at the basement there, sitting, waterlogged. So we have to we may not fully understand all the trauma they may have had to gone through. I myself, in talking about I myself went to the home, not a few hours afterward, because that was one of my concerns. The home in Tokyo. And when I went there along with some other guys, we had to chop our way through, clear the road to get there, because they are very much vulnerable. And when we reached there, I mean, I saw some of the seniors, on wheelchairs in water, because the roof gone, windows gone, and water was just bathing them inside there. I mean, so I'm just saying we have to genuinely care for people and reach out to them. Our seniors. I mean, you know, they're not young to say that they could dodge and run there and do that and so on and so forth. Wherever they are, they have to stay. So I want us to reconsider how we see them, how we treat them, and now we have opportunity. Let us ensure that they are okay. Bring a smile on their faces. You think they could have smiled sitting there in a corner? All of them were packed in a corner because trying to escape. Could we really? Could they have smiled? Of course, all of us were going through our trauma. But the thing is, we have to make this commitment now, going forward. Okay, it happened already. We didn't do what we're supposed to do, but going forward, I'm saying, Amber, we have to make that commitment now to ensure that our elders, the senior citizens of this nation, are taken care of. And, you know, so it's a commitment I'm calling on all of us to make, for the children, for the elderly. And if this month is being observed as the month of the elderly and the month of the child, I really want us to put those things together and understand, remove ourselves from whatever bias we may have, to ensure that these communities, children, elders, that they are looked after and are taken care of in a very positive way. So I'm making this appeal. Yeah. Of course, we'll continue to speak about these issues during this new season, especially during the month of October. This month's coming up. This is the 31st. But I just wanted to give an idea as to what we are facing, what we have a responsibility for, what we need to do. I'm going to change that attitude. You got to change that attitude. I've observed and seen how people have disrespected our adults. Of course, not talking about our children too, but I'm talking about the adults now, the senior citizens. We have disrespected them in so many ways. Yeah. Sometimes we say, "Oh, all you do all the time already." Which time? And we do not, and we fail to show love, compassion, empathy, understanding.
Mhm.
I mean, Amber, this is not going down right, and I feel that we need to mash the brakes and make that commitment to ensure that our elders are given the kind of attention, support that they deserve. Not the necessary need. Yes, they need it, but they deserve that. They deserve that, and so that's the message we want to send out here on the show. For to change our attitude towards our children and children generally, and change our attitude toward the elders.
Yeah.
That's where our parents are elders. We are not we are not older than them, so we say, well, no, our parents come from that community of elders. So it's not my parent or your parent, what is elders, all those who have gone on before. What are we doing? What are we doing? And I think Barry has given us this opportunity to correct that error that we have always been making, lack of care, support. Now, what to the wise is what? Sufficient. Sufficient.
It's sufficient.
Yeah, I know. All right, we want to wrap this program up this morning. And yeah, we're going to be back again next week, Saturday. We're coming with new, not anything new, that things that you weren't aware of. We'll be coming back again to share, yeah, motivate, encourage, and keeping hope alive. Yeah, keeping hope alive. Amber, you want to say anything? I want to. I'm going to end with CARRIACOU. That song by Ruth Jackson, who is in London. I guess he's logged on at this time. He's listening, and we want to wish, say to all those people who have contributed in some way or the other to the to help us bear the pain and the burden. We want to say hats off to you. All those who who live in the diaspora would have cried for the loved ones when they see. Yeah, I know it was felt. I mean, I tell you, I there, and I mean, I had to cry, because if I didn't cry, if tears didn't come out of my eyes, I would not be able to handle it. But I'm just saying, there are people out there who, see it, but seeing it is one, but living through it is another thing. So all those people who would have, in some way or the other, send a change for the family, send this for the family, good word, a wish, whatever it is. And just finally, I think the attitude of some of our people during this time was sickening. Some people were so negative. All they could have seen, well, I don't know if it's the bear that caused the mind to be twisted, but all they could see, the sight to be twisted. All they could see is what is wrong. All they could see was what was not according to how they want it. All they could see is the pressure and the pain, without seeing how they can help and how we can have that attitude of support and assistance. So to all of you, wherever you are in the diaspora, even if you didn't know about Kaiko before, you never heard about it, but when you see what has happened, you would have been moved to compassion and help people who might not even know. And so the point is, yes, all of you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we ourselves, let's change that attitude of only seeing the negative things. Doesn't mean that the things that you refer to as negative don't exist. Let's keep it alive. Your closing thoughts.
Mr. Koi, I can't, I do not want to add anything to take away from your story, because right about now, my heart is just being pierced by every word that came from your mouth. Your concern, the experience, whether it's personal or through the eyes of somebody that was shared to you. It can, as you say, it can make a mark. Well, it should make a mark. And if it doesn't, well, then I guess something is actually wrong with us. And I'm glad how you put it in terms of the two groups, the most vulnerable groups in our society, our adults and our children, and being able to put things in place for them, even if it was an oversight, we recognize, and we now have to go back to the drawing board and see how we can correct these errors. Looking forward and forging ahead as a community to see how we can provide for these two important vulnerable groups in our society. Not that I'm saying that everybody is not vulnerable, but we are saying that especially these two groups, children and the elderly, that we put measure in place to ensure that their needs are being met and that we give them the love and the respect and the appreciation that they truly deserve. So this month, we want to hold these two groups in high esteem, not just on the date that we celebrate the elderly or the exact day that we go in the parade, as Mr. Coy rightly said, that these two groups is going to be in the forefront of our mind always, and that we put measure in place to ensure that they are properly taken care of. So as we go about this week, this month, each day we think not only of ourselves, but we put others, and especially the most vulnerable groups, in the forefront in everything that we do. So this week, that definitely try to make that your focus, a child in need, an elderly who needs some assistance. Let's see if we can reach out to this vulnerable group and show our appreciation and love and support for what they have done, and also to ensure that for in terms of the kids, that they would be able to also because remember, some people may view as children doesn't really have a purpose other than going to school, right? But they do have a voice, and it is important. Yeah, they are human beings, and that we pay attention and that we listen to their needs also when we are planning our community works and so forth. So that's my encouragement for each day. I don't want to say for tomorrow or just for the month, for each day as we go about living our lives.
All right. Well, thank you very, very much for those powerful thoughts, and we'll continue to keep hope alive, aren't we? That's what we need to do. So, Optimist Show will be back with you on next Saturday, God's willing, to continue the journey by keeping hope alive.
You know you are my only friend. Girl, you're cool. When will your troubles end? You always have been your own land. This time that you know the hand too far. Old heads always used to say nothing too good today can't last. But it can't get worse than that. Your progression mustn't turn back. Just beware them super back. My carrier good. We have corruption, malnutrition, mass destruction. I call it division. Now let me hear you say, yeah, I see you. 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 Say, yeah, I see you.
It's estimated 1 in every 10 people in Grenada have the sickle cell trait. Having the trait does not mean you are sick or unhealthy. Very healthy people have the trait. Unfortunately, many of these people are unaware that they carry the trait. You see, when two people with the trait have a child, there is a 1 in 4 chance that the child will be born with the sickle cell disease. That is why it is important to know if you have the trait. Sickle cell is associated with life-threatening conditions, and it can be very painful. You see, the body's red cells can pass freely through the arteries and veins, but the sickle cells can get stuck, and this is what causes pain. This disease, you cannot catch it from someone. It is inherited. You are born with the trait or the full-blown disease. It comes from your parents. So let's talk sickle cell and what it is about and what can be learned about it and how to live with it. Let's all make better decisions about our family's health by learning the facts and getting tested. A message from the Sickle Cell Association of Grenada. Please call 458-6399 or email us at grenadasc@gmail.com.
Equal rights and justice.
This is an urgent call to all citizens. The Grenada Human Rights Organization, GHRO Incorporative, is engaging all nationals. Getting to know your rights is your civic responsibility. So join the GHRO team. Let's promote and create greater awareness on abuses and violations within society. Stop the Abuse Initiative, protecting the rights of the marginalized and the vulnerable. Human rights and social justice belongs to all the people without discrimination and victimization. So together, Let's promote and protect our rights. Stop the abuse against children, the elderly, all marginalized members of society, those living in poverty, all citizens. Join the movement. Email grenadahumanrights@gmail.com. Telephone numbers 473-419-5479 and 407-4597. Website www.grenadahumanrights.org.
Equal rights and justice.
Tossed and battered, bruised and knocked down, forever changed. But from the rubble, hope rises. The Optimist Show returns this Saturday, October 5, 2024, at 9 a.m. on Vibes 101.3 and 106.3 FM.
I was buried alive, but I'm still breathing.
The Optimist Show, where your voices can be heard and recognized. The Optimist Show is on Vibes 101.3 and 106.3 FM every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. The Optimist Show is about news, information, activism, and entertainment. On The Optimist Show, optimism is spread to every viewer and listener. Get connected to Milton and Amber, along with friends, for another exciting new season of The Optimist Show, keeping hope alive. We are also on social media platforms. On Facebook, follow The Optimist Show, Conception News, CAMS Training Institute. The Optimist Show is a production of CAMS Training Institute in association with Hope FC, ISPA, and other community organizations, institutions, and groups.
It's all about you, love me. Thank you. It's all about you, love me, my boo. It's all about you, love me. It's you. I love you, love you. They can say anything they wanna say. They can do anything they wanna do. We'll keep our feet on the ground while we reach for the stars. Just you and me forever. We've been together too long. It's been 5 years and we're still going strong. This relationship was filled with many obstacles. We're not perfect, but we're still holding on. Thank you, babe. Love you, babe. My boo. Love you, babe. Love you, babe. I love you. Yeah. Love you, babe. Love you, babe. My boo. Love you, babe. Love you, babe. I love you. Yeah. They can say anything they wanna say. They can do anything they wanna do. We'll keep our feet on the ground while we reach for the stars. Just you and me forever. Each day feel like we just got. We're still together, still going strong. Trust in your love and honesty. Just in your